Namaste. This is Prakash here. Many years back, maybe 15 to 20 years ago, or even earlier, there's a very famous book called The Frugal Millionaire. It's a very short book, between maybe 58 to 60 pages, something like that, but speaks volumes about how a person can become rich in life and still be frugal. Rather, the invertendo, how being frugal will help a person to get everything in life. This book, of course, to a great extent, was focused on the material well-being of a person. The current pandemic, if there is one thing that has really taught us, not just theoretically, but through experience, is how a frugal or a minimalistic life, as they say, is the most fitting one for us to live as human beings. The last 3 months or so, I don't think we splurged much. We didn't have to go to malls, we didn't have to go to movies, rather we couldn't. And we didn't go after expensive shoppings. We ate what was available in the market in terms of vegetables or whatever. We couldn't go after the exotic food that would actually make us feel good with our taste buds. This is one thing which has really taught us through experience. And in fact, I read many blogs, many articles, many forwards, which said that in fact people's health seems to improve in at least in one dimension. Maybe because they were stuck to home. They had to eat only home food. There is not much of conflict that arises out of traveling outside. So many factors. So many factors. But is this learning something that we are going to internalize? If you look at frugality or minimalistic life, it all boils down to one thing, that right from the time of Buddha, every great master has been teaching us, leaving us messages with moderation. Anything in excess creates pain. This is nature's law. If you eat too much of the same food which initially made you feel good, your stomach may be upset for 2-3 days. If you keep indulging in any activity which makes you feel good, at some point of time it actually, even in economics you have the concept of law of diminishing returns. At some point of time they all start coming down in value. And in fact it starts causing pain. And this is one of the greatest spiritual lessons which many masters have taught, including heartfulness masters. They have been teaching for quite some time. In anticipation of living a good life, moderation is the key. It's not very easy leading a need-based life. Our mind is conditioned, partly internally and to a great extent externally, to chase something beyond what is actually needed. In some way it gives satisfaction which makes the ego feel quite good, and that sort of has a cascading effect. The more we get, the more we seem to want, and the more we want, and it has a upward spiraling effect. And to meet those wants, we need to go out and earn more. And to earn more, we are distancing ourselves from what we are rooted into, our family and our values. All these have some kind of a heady mix, creates a heady mix, a concoction which is very difficult, which continuously keeps you in some kind of a drunken condition, intoxication, extremely difficult to get out. When you meditate, when you clean, when you pray, Many of these effects tend to wear off, but we all learnt it through a very hard lesson in times of the pandemic that we are currently going through. Many of us are really finding it very difficult in terms of managing our life with the several challenges that this pandemic has thrown. But there is one single major learning all we have experienced. It is just not knowledge, it is just not theory, but we have learned that keeping our needs simple, keeping our life focused on a frugal, a moderate, a balanced living actually leads to peace and happiness. It's my personal experience, and it is also something that many of my close friends and associates have shared. In the last 3 months, they have discovered things about themselves which they have never been able to throughout their life. Whether it be their ability to cook, their ability to garden, their ability to sing, their ability to write, their ability to even do play act, many things. And they have found great amount of satisfaction in spending time with their family. Of course, there are economic challenges which we will overcome once things become normal in business and economic front, which is tending to. But the biggest learning that we should not lose focus, that nature has taught us in some way, is the need to be grounded, the need to be frugal, the need to be moderate, the need to live on a need-based life. Many years back, I remember reading a book called Conversations with God. It's a series of books came with a single topic, very powerful, where a person has continuous interactions with God. And in one of the questions, he asks God, is it wrong to earn money? Is it wrong to have a lot more than what I'm actually going to keep for myself? And God, I'm paraphrasing the answer, the God goes on to answer him that it is the innate nature of humans to work. It is the innate nature of humans to earn money. But what you do with the money is something, it's up to you. That's your choice. The same thing what Lord Krishna might be saying in Gita too. Work is our nature. Even God cannot keep silent. But what comes out of the work, what we do with what we amass out of the work, that in fact in that book there is an example God gives to this person who is talking to him. For example, for your entire life, say you need about 5 crores worth of money, and you keep on earning, you earn 100 crores, 200 crores, 300 crores. He very clearly says that beyond these 5 crores, you'll never be able to. These are all examples. It may vary from person to person. Beyond these 5 crores, you may never be able to spend in your life. Anyway, what will you do with the rest of the wealth? Your family, your successors, the people who come after you in your family, they will all find their own way. There's no need for you to keep on earning and stashing up the cash and money somewhere and for it only to be lost. He says the rest, give it away so that you don't stagnate. You continue to work, you continue to do what nature made you for, living a frugal life and yet helping others. What more can we ask? That's an altruistic life that we all can look forward to living. And all these values I have personally experienced being imbibed in me by a simple act of meditation, a continuous act of rejuvenation or cleaning through which I am able to clean myself of all the mental toxins that keep to accumulate, which creates the need for me to go beyond the need and looking at wanting things. And of course, praying and being hooked on to a larger self. All these seems to come naturally. There are glitches all of us have, and that is something that we can continue to work. But one thing that this pandemic has reinforced in me is that the values for which you need to live are far more important. The wants that you need, the wants that you have to live for. The choice is up to you to make. But the pandemic has taught us a lesson. Would we go on and continue to live the same frugal, grounded, moderate, need-based life. It's a choice that each and every one of us have to make. Choices leads to consequences. Consequences lead to results. The results are desirable or undesirable. No one can be blamed other than the person who made the choices, which is you. Utilize the chance that nature is given to look at the choices you're going to make about what you want to seek. It's up to you. I wish you the very best. Thank you.